Good morning, folks. I hope you're having a good Easter weekend, Easter Sunday. I would like to say that we're hearing good news, but we're hearing rumors. Before I get into this, as always, please remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know about all new content and so that you are part of the giveaway at 500, 1,000, 1,500 subscribers. The rumors we're hearing, though, from what I've heard again today, is that some governors, my own included, Governor Abbott, are starting to draft tentative plans to slowly return to normalcy. And of course, every time you see one of those posted, you always have some inevitable response, that they're putting people at risk. Why didn't we lock down for swine flu, SARS, MERS, Ebola? Why don't we lock down every year for the flu? I understand this is a new virus. I understand I am not an epidemiologist or a medical doctor or a scientist of any kind. I'm a historian. So I understand that this is something that has not been seen before. So we have no proven treatment for it. We have no proven tests for antibodies yet. Those are being developed. And I understand the move to shelter and protect people as much as possible while these things are developed. There is an inherent issue, though, with doing this. It delays herd immunity. Yes, I know, the flu kills a lot of people every year. Diarrhea kills people every year. You dehydrate, you die. But these things have been around, and we know if someone has horrible diarrhea, we need to make sure they hydrate, they get the medication they need to see their doctor. Someone gets the flu, they are given medication for it. And they may spread it to others, but there is that move to treat. We need to have a plan, and I believe Governor Abbott is listening to medical doctors, listening to researchers, epidemiologists, and the rest, and will take their advice seriously. But we can't stay like this forever. One question, though, is what will the economy and the country look like after all of this has ended and we're no longer in a shelter-in-place or self-quarantine or whatever? There will be certain things that naturally stay with us for a while. One of them being the concept of handshakes or high fives or fist bumps, things like that. Okay, a handshake is similar to a salute in its origins. I don't have as much time looking into the history of it as I do into the salute. But with a salute, you're holding an empty hand. You're raising an empty hand. Now, it has evolved because it used to be a salute, or it was this. In some countries, there are other traditions that have evolved since then. But when you raise this hand, your right hand, it is to show I am not a threat. I'm not armed. I'm not attacking. I'm showing deference and honor on you as not my enemy, and the person returns it. It ultimately evolved into a status thing with officers versus enlisted. There are many traditions behind it. Someone who is carrying a guidon, basically about an 8-foot pole with a very small flag on it. They carry it in their right hand, and their right arm is down by their body, holding it so you can march with it. So you would salute across the body to the guide arm. If you are walking, and I was ROTC, if I was outside walking with just an armload of stuff, you still acknowledge the officer. But that is all down from the concept of two warriors passing, and they would show their dominant hand to say, I am not a threat. The concept of a handshake is somewhat similar, because when you clasp hands, you're not armed. You cannot attack. It has ultimately evolved into just a greeting, and it may no longer be as common. I, for one, would not be as comfortable meeting someone and not shaking hands, but it may become a faux pas. The bigger question, though, are how this is going to affect industries. Think of just one, Hollywood. Now, television, I believe will actually grow and expand from this with more pay-per-view options, more movie channels, more TV shows. Because people are now seeing that they can be entertained in their home. They're now seeing that, well, movies can be released direct to them without a need for a theater. I believe the Trolls World Tour is released now. You can watch it online. There are rumors still flying that Black Widow will be on Disney Plus because we can't release it into theaters, or it may release both if we are back up and running. But being a child of the 80s and 90s, I can remember my own hometown. We had a tiny little two-screen movie theater. The county seat had a tiny little two-screen movie theater. They now run a 6-screen or maybe an 8-screen. But you're going to see some of these close. My town is not a large city, but we have 2 mega theaters, both running 11, 12, or 13 or 14 screens. I personally believe that one of them will ultimately close, possibly both. You may get a slight return to what it was in the 80s and 90s, where you have to drive into town. So I would have to drive into the big city to find a movie theater. You're not going to have one at every shopping mall and other places around town. I don't think it would be a bad thing. Societally, it is going to put people out of work. Now, a lot of these movie theaters do hire students. So you're going to see high school students and possibly a few college kids looking for other work. I worked my way through high school at mowing yards when I could, and I worked in a drugstore as a cashier. After high school, I drove pizza and then ultimately moved back into retail. We're going to see a shift. I understand that. We have to be careful with that shift, though, because if we let it just go wild, it will be more detrimental than it could be. You know, my city losing one movie theater would not be just horrible. Even the county seat losing its little theater would not be horrible, because those people are going to find other jobs, because they may begin driving for delivery services. They may move into retail or support or education or medical or law enforcement, fire service, EMS, any number of things. Some of them are going to start their own businesses. We will recover, but not if we stay locked down for too long, because that ultimately will tank the economy. So the question is, what do we do and how do we move forward? And it's a multi-stage process. You cannot just say, okay, everybody go back to work. My own office, all of us are working from home. Those who were able have several pieces of equipment they brought home. It's not easy setting up that desk. So I would probably need to go in either a couple of hours early or on a weekend, or take a day off or a half day and go in, or whatnot. Others are going to have to do the same. Restaurants are going to change, definitely, because you're going to probably see a lower occupancy, so tables will be spaced further apart. And practices will change. Food delivery is going to be more popular because of the option to have things brought right to you. And for those who want to continue not having as much contact, you have contactless delivery. My parents have a nice covered porch. I will one day. So it would not be an issue for someone to pull up, put something on my porch where I've left a marker for contactless delivery, knock, and then 15 seconds later I go out and get it. The issue we have to make sure we don't fall into is keeping this distance. Humans are social animals. We need interaction. We get some via phone, text, video calls, instant messages, email, social media, but nothing can really replace face-to-face interaction. There are people like myself, if I had enough supplies, which I do right now, I have plenty of appliances. I have a hot plate, an oven, I have a griddle, I have a George Foreman, even have the stupid little Egg McMuffin maker. So, with enough supplies, I could happily not open my door for a week because I would be perfectly happy for that short amount of time reading and relaxing and unwinding a bit. Others can't do that, and that is a lot of the reason we're seeing some of the problems. I understand, again, this is a new threat. Anytime something brand new emerges, you have to study it. I don't agree with calling every death of someone with COVID-19 a COVID-19 death. We need to record who died with versus from. I understand there are comorbidities where, COVID-19 may hasten the onset of pneumonia or the flu or something else. But that needs to be recorded, that the person ultimately passed away due to pneumonia brought on by COVID-19. Because the statistics are going to be instrumental in studying things. Because you don't treat an asymptomatic carrier the same as you treat a symptomatic sufferer. Even if that asymptomatic carrier may have pneumonia brought on, you still treat the pneumonia, and you may treat it slightly differently, but you don't treat the same. And doctors are going to do the best possible for their patient. Right now, what we need is for all 535 people in Congress to truly do what they say they want done, but they only want the other party to do it. Put politics aside. Stop demanding that the expansion of the Payroll Protection Act also include billions for media bailout or money for this or money for that. Pass the bill to expand payroll protection. You want to pass another bill? Introduce it as a separate bill. This last few months has shown very clearly where the priorities of some in Congress, some in both parties, where they truly lay. We have people fighting to give illegal aliens money. People demanding that hardened and violent criminals be released from jail because they might get the coronavirus. We have people demanding that, certain bills not be passed when those bills would help small businesses. For crying out loud, we have, I believe it was Nancy Pelosi, actually on record saying that she has seen no proof or no evidence that small businesses are suffering. If that's not playing politics to get the Kennedy Center or Planned Parenthood or whatever other special group money over small businesses, I don't know what is. And it needs to stop from anyone. I don't know. I've talked about it long enough. I've jumped around, as always, topic to topic. So let me know what you think. As always, remain civil. We're not here to scream and yell and insult each other. We're here to discuss as adults. Please remember also to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like and share the video to expand the conversation. That way we get to those thresholds and the giveaway happens as fast as possible. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. Stay home as much as you can. And if you have to leave, be careful. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.